audio, or are we using the in-game voice?
We can do in-game voice as well. I mean, to be honest, preferably
Thank you for the phone.
preferably you could just do both, but obviously for kind of like the like for us to ask you questions and stuff like that, it'd probably be better just to kind of like be in the Discord so that way you can hear fully the audio and stuff like that. So
sounds great to me.
Yeah. So
yeah, Collins.
My first question. My first question for you guys though is did you guys manage to get the game from Area 51? And if so, are you guys aliens? Because I feel like the game was made at the perfect time for all the Area 51 craze, you know?
Oh my god, dude. We actually, when Area 51 was happening, when like the entire event was happening, we were like trying to post on like Imgur and stuff, like all our, like some of our like marketing contents, like our videos and things, and we were trying to like tag like, you know, like Area 51 run, or, you know, what was the, there was like some hashtags about Area 51, like Area 51 raid. That was the hashtag that we wanted to go for, and some people like really dug it, and there was like we were just releasing like the new Infestor skin at that time too, so that was like pretty fun when the Area 51 thing was going on. But we did not make it because people decided to raid Area 51. we were here first.
You guys were here first. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. No, I have to admit though, like it was just perfect timing for just sort of like the craze for it, and just really enjoyed it. I was told just jam. Yeah. Yeah, the code should just be just jam, yeah.
Colin is hopping on right now.
Oh, I did? No worries.
Take your time. I got all day, baby.
I got all day, baby, yeah. Let me just quickly put my questions real quick on the second screen real quick. Oh, dude. Alright. By the way, if anyone who doesn't know who Tony is, I really recommend you guys do check out his stream. Also, please check out the official Enemy on Board stream as well, guys. Give them a follow. Right there, guys. And for TtinyTonyy as well. Please make sure to give all of them a follow for any future stuff as well with the Enemy on Board dev releases or anything. That'd be fantastic, guys.
Thank you for the phone. Yeah.
And I'm excited to play.
Thank you for the follow, by the way. 6 cents is 69. Appreciate
it. Today, Ben.
Dude, I
haven't had
a coding minds doing. I was boring developer stuff.
Yeah, I haven't been able to yet. I got the code Wednesday, but I had to work Thursday. So
why are we in a closed lobby? We're just doing like the dev interview and stuff like that. You know, basically being able to show you guys basically how bad not only I'm gonna be, but how good the devs are gonna be. Comparison.
There we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, dude. I know.
Oh, don't worry, you're not in any trouble. Babushka boy. He's a noob.
Yo, so I was thinking we might have to mute and deafen our Discord while we're playing the game, or else
that's totally fine.
What if we give away who the aliens are?
Oh damn, yeah, that is a good point actually. Yeah.
We can do the questions through the in-game voice.
Yeah, perfect.
It works pretty well. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine by me. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, we can all deafen ourselves, and then obviously when we come back, you know, when we're asking questions, kind of just do stuff like that. That's perfect. Yeah, no problem by me.
That sounds great, dude.
All right, cool. Sounds good, guys. All right, talk to you in game.
Talk to you in game, I guess.
All right, here we are in game. What was that?
Get ready or die.
Jerry Wilson. We're gonna be talking in the game.
All right, let's do this.
Can you guys hear me?
All right, boys, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Jerry Wilson is Colin, our fearless leader.
Oh boy.
Lord.
She and Sam are really cool. They have been pretty multiple times. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Sorry for the lateness, guys. I was at the rack gym.
It's fine, dude. I'm a gym boy as well.
Ooh, what kind of gym boy are you?
Dude, I'm like shredded. Like I'll show you somewhat of a picture, but like I am a proper gym freak.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm fucking huge.
Yeah, jam the dream. All right,
dude.
I'm a lanky man myself.
Is that why Dreamer?
Jam, can you ask Steve if he can just go to the development software if you use like Unity, Unreal? Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah.
Can't tell if you're actually shredded or not.
Alright, by the way, I'm a human if anyone's curious.
Oh, of course you are.
I'm also
Yeah,
human.
of course
I'm
you
also a human.
Yeah, I'm also.
are.
human.
Yeah, of course. I'm definitely human too.
I am human, yes.
Just very conspicuous for all humans, eh?
I am a human, yes. This says in the bottom left, human.
Yeah, bottom. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
What's going on?
To me, I don't know
Yo,
who's
don't
actually
wanna drop
infected or
those
not.
traps,
I'm just
Tony.
a scientist
Dude,
looking
Babushka Boy's
around,
doing something
sir.
suspicious. Dude, it's Babushka.
It's
Oh,
not.
God,
Give me
Sam's
this
killing him.
engineer kit.
Sam. Oh, Sam is acting toxic.
Ricky, you
So,
come back here right now.
Yo, it's Babushka Boy.
No, it's
Clearly
Shion and
I'll ask
Sam,
the
guys.
question
It's Shion
in a
and
second,
Sam.
by the way, for whoever
Oh
asked
my
for the
God, this is why I have
engine.
the lowest
by the way.
one percentage.
I've asked Ricky. I've asked Ricky.
Alright, great work.
We need Tony, you need a repair kit, dude. If you go back to where the repair thing is there.
I need someone
I'll
that's
wait
not
for you.
Ricky at sea.
I'm going
We have
A.
to be, we have to be really careful of Ricky at the moment, guys.
No,
Yeah.
what? It's okay.
It's 100% Babushka Boy.
Dude, sus on
It
Ricky
is.
and Sam, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's Sam and
seriously,
she. It's Sam and she.
Look at that.
I'm wrong on
He's
this.
accusing two players right there.
Yeah, because you
I'm
guys both.
Yeah, that
attacked me.
seems that's
Without-
true. That seems a bit suspicious for me, you know.
Still good
No,
sus, yeah.
no. You guys don't understand.
Oh, yeah?
You guys
I
don't understand.
didn't-
We
I
know.
didn't
I'm
we
off
know
with some-
when.
it was
No,
good
no,
for-
no,
Bushka
I
Boy
saw.
Yeah, no worries, dude. No worries.
We know when Bushka Boy is there. Where is the Bushka Boy now?
He's being an. I just
I'm
stepped
so
out of
bad.
the
Look.
By the
Bushka
way,
Boy,
whoever's
if you're
just
in the
game,
middle right now,
I've only
that
played
means
this a
you're
few
in
hours, so me and Tony are kind of
You're
kind of
chasing
basic
me.
for this. What does it have to collect and what do aliens have to collect?
Did you just hit me with a
So
sun?
aliens
Shion?
have to
what?
I think
kind of
it- I think
explain
it-
with
Oh,
aliens.
So why is the idea?
That was
Why
awkward.
is that?
Just
Yeah.
a walking here.
I'm walking.
What's the big
Walking
idea,
here.
eh? I'm walking here.
This is mine.
Where are you, Babushka?
I'm going for B.
Bushka Boy. Hey, where do you think you're going, man?
Tiny
Careful.
Tony.
This is mine.
Babushka's dangerous.
Someone put it.
Jam just
Someone put a thing. Yeah.
Jam stepped on an alien.
Yeah.
Shoot me with that bell.
Yeah,
Zap,
Jam,
zap,
you
zap.
got
I
it.
trust Sam now.
Why is
Don't
your
worry,
character?
it's just it's a harmless stun gun.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Who's a
Where are you-
spider, huh?
Bushka Boy, where you
By the way,
going?
there's,
I don't wanna
there's
be
one
zapped.
for you guys there. So when I stepped on that alien egg, for example, they got
Not trying to get
experience to
zapped.
turn into.
I
So
ain't
it's basically
trying
like
to zap.
blood into seeds, you
Oh,
know?
that's a good voice. Shit. Are you from Jersey?
Nah, ain't no way.
It's Shion. It's Shion. It's
Get out of the way, you dumb alien! Yeah, I'm gonna beat you down. Yeah, help me, boys! He's gonna.
Oh, that's what the monkey sounds like. By the way, that's his voice.
I don't
I'm
know
dead.
what's
Sam's
happening.
gonna kill me. It's Sam and Shion.
I don't
Alright,
know what's happening.
this is mine.
I have nowhere to
every
get him.
man
I don't know what is
for
happening. I'm telling you, that was
Hey, hey,
real.
Hey. Ah.
Ow! Ow! You're infected, aren't you? Oh, I'm dead.
Tiny. Okay.
Yep, welcome
right.
to Dead Chat, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it
boy.
might be Sam and Shion.
I told you it's Sam and Shion.
Alright, so.
Alright, so I'm gonna make sure to ask that question, by the
Welcome
way.
to the-
Give me a second. Was it for she? Yeah, alright, alright.
Alright, same lobby.
Same lobby. Give me a second. Oh boy, we're just waiting for everyone now.
Oh boy.
Rigged. Yeah, it sure did.
Maybe it would help if we answered
Absolutely
some
does.
questions about the
Yeah,
gameplay
yeah.
and stuff
I was
like
just
that.
about to. I was just about to ask you guys some questions. Now we were just kind of like just getting into it and stuff, I guess.
Mhm.
So for me, so some questions that I do have here. So I'm kind of just like go off of them slowly and kind of like get into it. But the first question, obviously, apart from you guys being from Area 51, of course.
We are definitely.
We're
from
definitely.
Well, you know that's not a problem for me as long as you don't lay eggs in my brain. You know, everyone else though is fine.
Yes.
But Mike,
Do you have any questions that we would know because we're aliens, maybe?
Yeah.
Like any questions about
what's
how aliens-
Area 51 like? What's Area 51 like currently?
Dude, it's actually very, very nice. It's a spacious luxury apartment complex for us aliens.
Well,
you know,
I had
we
a.
get 2 meals a day.
Oh,
I'm kind of surprised with the current president, but you know I'm not gonna get into that. That's I get you guys don't like the political stuff, so you know.
We're aliens. We don't know anything about politics.
But one of my questions would be this, and this is just to kind of regarding something relevant that I'm going to ask next. But in terms of like in terms of like what you get from your players regarding feedback and stuff like that, how do you take that, by the way? Because I obviously see that a lot of the way you guys do it is by Discord and by your page, but I also see that you guys are pretty proactive in changing sort of stuff regarding feedback. But just in terms of like what you guys do, how do you take that feedback and then decide how to change something in the game currently with an alpha, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about feedback that's really important is like you got to get feedback from a lot of sources, right? And then you have to temper that with just playing your game a lot, which I think is like kind of a misstep you see some developers take, right? Where they think that just responding to the loudest group will make the game the best, and in the short term it will make those people happy, right? But like you have to think of a piece of feedback from every player as like an additional variable in a larger formula, I think, right? That's the best way to do it if you want the best long-term outcome. And then in terms of us, I mean, for us, we're just trying to maximize the amount of feedback we can get, right? So that's why we're active on Discord.
Thank you for the
Thank you for the follow, by the way.
Us, DM
it's just
us
Mr.
with
Joey.
kind of thoughts and ideas. We have the channel that, we very much read. Like every morning when we wake up, we just go through it because it's really entertaining for us to see what people, want out of the game, what changes they want to make. But it's also just fun to see what kind of crazy shit people come up with.
Of course,
so.
yeah. I mean, obviously, congrats to you guys with regarding how popular your game has gotten, especially with being an alpha. Not to toot on your horn or anything like that, but like what I have seen when I originally came a few weeks ago to kind of like check out the game, you guys like gained over, I think it was like something like over 1,000 people on Discord in the past 2 weeks, which is quite impressive. Especially with sort of like with how early your game is on its stage. And then this comes to my next question then. When obviously a game is being developed and stuff like that, you obviously have a lot of restrictions such as like software, regarding obviously engine and stuff like that. And you can also get influenced by your player bases and stuff, just as it's used in this context as well. But in terms of like how you guys want your game to turn out, for example, where do you guys want it to in terms of like a year's time, for example? Anything can change, but what's your sort of idea for getting out in a year's time? What sort of content do you want to bring, basically, as an example?
Yeah, so I think there's like two parts to our future vision, and these things change all the time as we learn more about our product, and more importantly, learn more about our users, right? Like ultimately, we're going to build what makes users happy, because that's what matters. But the two things that really excite us are kind of these regular updates on one hand, and then user-generated content is something we're excited a little further down the line. So for the regular updates, I think what really excites us is you kind of imagine our crew of people on the spaceship Andromeda right now, and they live in a world outside of just what you see during the 5 or 6 minute rounds, right? So as you imagine each update following them as they go on another adventure, right? So if you ever watched Star Trek when you were younger, it's this really cheesy ass sci-fi show. Imagine each update kind of themed around a new adventure they go to, a new planet they go to, and that means maybe a new mission, a bunch of new characters to play as, a new chunk of narrative as you kind of see what they're up to, and new aliens, I guess, to play with, and items to play with. So that's kind of one arm, I guess. And the other one is UGC if we wanted to dig into that, but we could kind of go into the update stuff first if you have questions.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, the next question I would then have is then how you mentioned obviously user-generated content. What type of content are you guys wanting to make then? Because I know since it is an alpha, pretty much anything can be changed and anything can be added at this point. But where do you guys sort of see on making extra content, for example, when you kind of like have like a solid core? I mean, to be honest, the game's pretty solid right now. I'll be honest, and I quite like it. But what I mean is that when we're talking about extra content, we're talking, for example, something that would be something as minuscule as maybe either skins or just sort of including new aliens, for example. And even if you don't have an answer regarding that, just somewhat like what you guys would have like an idea for them.
Yeah. So like, I think Sam had a really cool thought on how like we could walk into UGC, which is like, namely, as we need to build content faster and faster, and we want to build better content, we're going to be building these tools internally that let us do that. So one thing we're really excited about is releasing new missions in the future, You can think of our current game mode as one mission. It's a 6-person mission with the 3 aliens we have available right now to pick between. 2 people are aliens. Going forward, imagine releasing a new mission that's maybe, you know, planet, you know, Hyperion or whatever, right? And that's maybe 12 people who load in, and there's different aliens, and the map is different, right? But as we start building that content, we also build better internal tooling to build those missions. And eventually, what you can do that's really really exciting and awesome is, as those tools get better and better and more kind of consumer facing, you can eventually start releasing limited versions of them to your players. You can let them make maybe initially just new maps, but eventually maybe you add on the ability for them to design new aliens or new items. And next thing you know, people can be designing and sharing their own crazy-ass missions that could be better than anything we could ever create if you look far enough in the future.
So workshop-based, for example, then, yeah? So sort of like getting in a lot more... Yeah. I like that idea, honestly. The thing that I kind of really enjoyed about what you guys do with your game as well is that even though it's 6 players, you guys obviously have basically like a 10-player lobby where obviously a lot more people can join in and spectate it. I'm wondering, this is kind of like my own kind of like question regarding this, but would there be a chance of having a plug-in then where if someone leaves the game and they're watching it, they could then turn into the alien? Because I think that's what a lot of the issues is where you have games that are around maybe 2 infected and 4 innocent. If that infected goes, for example, that guy's pretty screwed on his teammates. And I'm just wondering, even if that's not available, then sort of how you guys would kind of like go around that. I mean, you know, nothing can be really done about that necessarily, but if you were thinking of maybe putting a plug in for that where you just spawn back in as one of the people there, or you could rejoin the game. But I know rejoin the game in terms of like coding and stuff like that's far more harder than having a plug-in. So I know the technical side with what you guys are facing. But I'm just wondering if you guys have even thought about that idea before of having a plug-in where people who are spectating could just join in if someone leaves, for example.
So that specific idea, I don't think we've talked about. That's a really cool idea.
Oh, I didn't even know. That's what they're over. I'm about to go over that as well, Strange Tackle, yeah.
So if you notice, the tutorials are actually a networked game, and then you also notice that, you know, these are 10-player lobbies as well, so we can have more than 10 people. You know, it's our goal kind of way down the line to allow people to make their own missions.
That's perfect,
and
by the
so,
way. Yeah.
You know, the player base would, you know, if there was a demand for something like that, be able to create a plugin or a scenario that involved that as a feature of the game. And then it could kind of go into the game that way. So kind of in that space, you know, thinking about users with new kind of novel ideas and wanting to test them. There's, you know, a ton of power of, you know, in creativity and unlocking new features and stuff like that. That, you know, we're a really small team. You know, 3 of us code on the team right now. So the amount of features that we're going to be able to develop for the game are, you know, rather quite small when compared with, you know, what we would be able to get if we built tools for people and they could make, you know, custom scenarios or plugins for the game. We think that there's a lot of really great untapped potential that could kind of emerge in the game and become really fun and popular if we let people do stuff like that. Because of the way we kind of designed the piping, like I mentioned, the tutorials being, you know, their own custom networked lobby right now. You know, you're playing on a server, the tutorial isn't in your own game. You know, we've kind of already designed the piping for people to make their own kind of custom maps with their own rule sets, etc.
Okay. I guess then another question I would then kind of want to ask for, and I guess like a lot of people would generally want to know this as well, is I know that you guys have mentioned that you do want to make the game free to play, but also we know that making a game is is expensive, and that obviously making a game, obviously people want to at least make something to progress the game and go with other games down the line. To kind of simplify what I'm asking here though is that what sort of ways are you planning to kind of then generate income for you know, the game company that you guys have, and also for the game itself, you know? I know that some people have mentioned some ideas regarding it, either regarding donations or whatever, but in terms of like what you guys want to do for sort of going that route though, what sort of ideas have you guys basically came up with regarding that?
Yeah, so I think monetization is something we always keep an open mind about. Like, if you actually look at how a lot of games work in the industry, like, you want to launch, really want to focus on making your players as happy as possible and growing your community.
Of course, yeah.
And monetization is something that usually gets refined over time. So for us, I think the rough sketch of what we want to do right now is to have the seasonal model where we have these updates coming out. And we sell cosmetics to you, that are, maybe specific to each of those updates. So if they go to the cool desert planet, right, maybe there's a bunch of characters you can purchase either through kind of a battle pass for that update, or in addition an a la carte store where we have some, limited edition skins you can buy. So cosmetic based, really at that point is kind of our first step, but we have really strong morals around monetization, specifically around not selling power. But other than that, I think there's a lot of really awesome creative monetization that could come after that first step, right? You look at something like a battle pass, which didn't exist 4 years ago, and I think for a lot of players feels a lot more pro-consumer than, a lot of the monetization that existed before it. And I think there's a lot of potential for really kind of exciting cutting-edge monetization that's super respectful to players and lets everyone still have a great time. But I'd say initially we're going to focus on those cosmetics with the battle pass and with the kind of a la carte store.
Okay, yeah, no, that seems perfect. I mean, to be honest, that's pretty commendable how you guys obviously want to sort of go with the sort of cosmetic approach and basically go, I have to admit, I think that's far more better for value as well. A lot of people could say that, maybe cosmetics is also kind of like a, like with how like EA, for example, do it. But generally, I think if a game's free and that obviously a game's just sort of out there for like to support the players and stuff like that, but also they need to like generate income. I think in terms of like with regarding cosmetics and stuff like that, I think that's actually welcome, to be honest. Again, people do actually have to generate income. Especially if they want better developments of the game, because again, I don't know what sort of engine you guys are going to be working with currently, and I'd like to ask that as well before I finish this. But with regarding that though, like I think a lot of people could understand that because of the way you guys are doing your game to make it basically free to play and basically be able to get people involved. I think that in terms of like the way that you guys are doing with your monetization is pretty commendable, and I would definitely support it. For example, for sure. It's a great idea, honestly. But to get back to the question I was just mentioning there, though, what sort of engine do you guys then use? You use Unity, Unreal Engine, for example, and sort of what's the restrictions with that then?
Yeah, so we use Unity, which, the thing about Unity that's really cool is, like, Unity has a lot of packages you can use that are built in. So, a lot of people look at a lot of Unity projects online and like, all the asset flips use Unity, let's say, right? Or there's this kind of maybe connotation that Unity projects are lower end. But a lot of people don't realize that's awesome about Unity is that you can take off any component of the engine and replace it with exactly what you need. And that's really what we've done with Unity, right? So in particular, networking is something that Unity does not have a great solution for right now. And so we're lucky enough to have Sam and Chris, and they've completely written our own networking package that lets our game, work incredibly smoothly and lets us host our game on Amazon, on AWS, right? Which is why we can have, as a team of 5, we can have servers all over the world and let people have great latency. So yeah, I'd say Unity, but in a lot of ways very customized for what we're doing and with like a lot of our own tooling, right? We have our own little cool system for building items, for example, right? That's completely homegrown.
Perfect. I know that I've been asking a bunch of questions. I know Tony must be shaking at the idea of being able to ask you guys as well. So I'm gonna pass on to. Look, Tony, they've got a plasma gun behind my head. Okay, I'm just doing what they asked me to.
Oh, you too?
Yeah, they've got it on me, man. Look, I'm just doing what I can. Look, I'm gonna pass over. Yeah. I get it, Overlord. It's now there. It's now his turn. Okay, all right.
Hey, tough guy, wanna put down the gun and go give me some chips?
Go give me a canola.
Don't be dissing my
Jerry.
So, I was cutting in and out because I had a phone call. I don't know what he asked you, but well, first of all, how are you guys doing today?
Dude, we're doing great, man. We're doing
That's
great.
good.
We
That's good.
played back day.
Unfortunately, I missed the first play test. I guess it was Thursday, a couple weeks ago. I got an email from you guys, and I missed out on that. And it looked like a lot of fun, but I had to work. But in the email you sent me, you guys stated that I liked SCP. When you guys were giving out the keys to the streamers, was it like a choice?
Check
Did you
Steam,
guys
please?
actually
Yeah.
look?
Sure did.
What was the process of that?
I think Ricky and you guys could talk to that.
Sure, happy to talk about it. So yeah, I think every decision we want to make in terms of going to market has to be pretty data driven. So I think what we wanted to do is tier streamers by their interests, their community's interests, as well as what we felt their impact would be to our game. And so simply that's basically what we did. We put people into buckets. For example, if they played other social deception games, Dead by Daylight, Deceit, SCP, etc., they got a score. They had a community size of above a certain size. They got a score, and then we just filtered it that way. So it's a pretty long exercise. I was up pretty late. Colin, Sam, she can tell you about it, but I thought it was pretty successful. So.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think like
You had like 2 hours of sleep.
So like one thing kind of
watching
relates
me.
to, Jam, you kind of asked, what is our strategy around monetization and reaching out to streamers and stuff, and all of this kind of comes to one holistic goal for us, right? Which is, namely, like high quality users are really valuable to us, right? Like the reason a lot of these games, right? You look at really successful games and they're absolutely crushing it is because they have these users who absolutely love their game, right? And that's why they update all the time, and they can keep this relationship with these players for many years, right? And I think that relates to how we go out to look for streamers, right? So some game companies want to just go get Shroud to play the game, right? They want some giant streamer who's going to give them tons of reach. But what we've really found is finding the right users, especially in this early stage, is the most important thing, right? Who are those users who are going to come and they're going to be great advocates for us and make our lives easier, and who are going to give great feedback, and who are going to be able to tolerate maybe some updates where we try some experimental stuff. In an effort to
Thank you for the follow, by the way, Mr.
and that's
Steal
the
Your
same way I
Girl.
think we
Appreciate
think about
it.
streamers, right? I mean, if someone's played a game very similar to ours, we think their community is going to be a better match for our game, and we think in a lot of ways they'll be a better match for our game. So.
I mean,
Ultimately, who can we partner with, right? More so than who can we go and pay a bunch of money.
Yeah,
I've already stolen your
makes
girl.
us,
Goddamn it, man.
or it lets
Why
us
you do
be a
that?
lot more personal with communication as well. I mean, it's kind of true to who we are, and realistically, we're 5 friends working out of a living room right now for the past 2 years. We're not some faceless organization that has the luxury of being able to email 2,000, 10,000 streamers at once and just kind of hope that some people respond based on the clout of our name. We'd much rather start a dialogue and find the best people possible to play our game, like Colin was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some of our best relationships have actually been we found moderators of communities on Reddit, and we've reached out to them and explained our game to them, and gotten them on board and gotten them excited, and they've really helped grow our community. And those people are great partners for us, right? Like it's not a very faceless kind of informal, I guess artificial relationship, right?
Yeah, no, to be honest, the next question I was going to ask actually is with regarding sort of like how you guys are reaching out and stuff like that. I have noticed that you guys are probably proactive in your community, always engaging with people, always getting people involved. And to be honest, that's kind of working well for you guys because a lot of people are just constantly being like, basically spreading the word, basically getting people involved. I mean, congrats to you guys as well for having a pretty big streamer recently, with 3,000 viewers regarding the game and getting it out there. But even before him, for example, you guys were like pretty much getting like, I think it was like nearly like 50 people a day on your Discord, just constantly joining. And that's quite commendable about the fact that you guys have only been really sort of like publishing this game for the past month, really, like fully, to basically for it to be alpha and stuff. And I guess sort of my next question is when you're regarding sort of bigger streamers and what you want your community, sort of what community do you guys really want then? Sort of what sort of player base are you guys really wanting for your game? And then I'll have my next question after that as well.
Yeah, I can definitely answer that question. So moving forward, like we definitely think that building up a great community is really the way to go, right? We are trying to figure out like ways that we can engage our community and like let them know that like the devs are always going to be around to like talk to them and like kind of play the games with them if they need. And obviously it's kind of just like figuring out what is the best identity that we can kind of put forward and like what's the best image for everybody on board. And it's kind of like to show the world that like we're like a slightly different game and like our community is great and the people that play our game are great and the streamers that play our game are great, and then that makes people want to hop in and kind of like see what the game's about and be like maybe not just because of like how great the game is, but also just to, like be a part of the community. So moving forward, like that's definitely something that we want to kind of just always keep in mind. Like we want to be in like great communication with not just like our community members, but with influencers that help us like promote the game, and we also want to help like you guys kind of like promote your channel as well and like help you guys grow. So
That's pretty commendable.
we're always just trying to figure out like what's the best image that we can put forward so that we can like Jerry, ready up? God damn it.
God damn, Jerry.
Jerry.
God damn it.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah, man, community is important, dude. Like it's we like usually like our pinned messages and in our hashtag general channel really just like give us motivation every single day. Like people are telling us how much they love the game and like what we're doing, and they really love that we're like very engaged with our community, and we're holding live events every week. We're trying to give away as much as possible. At the same time, we gotta grow the game, and that definitely helps.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Colin can talk about this a little bit too, but you have a bunch of different kind of player types, right? So you have like casual players that are just looking for a fun game, like we're running around the map right now. It's nothing super competitive. Then you have people that are just really into getting the commander role in our Discord, which is something that she pretty much dreamed up. Which is for all of our playtests for all of our official playtests, we kind of have a winner. And they get a special role in our Discord. I know Colin had like a lot of experience with that, when he was at Riot, working with those player types. But ultimately, our communities, needs to be reflective of all those things. So we're doing our best right now as we continue to grow and bring on new people, to be respectful of kind of their needs. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough task. Like, I certainly am happy she's on the team, so I don't have to do it all or anything like that.
Community herder of cats, man. That's the
Herder
role.
of cats.
Herder of cats. Lord of the cats.
Well, the one thing I was going to mention, I just got stunned as well. Perfect.
Who did that?
Who did that? The one thing I've kind of had thought was pretty commendable also, by the way, is how you guys deal with your toxicity with regarding people in the alpha. Now, I know that obviously she mentions this quite a bit, and also your other mods and stuff, but whenever I see anything regarding sort of the alpha play tests and stuff, I always see, making sure that if people are being toxic and stuff like that, that you guys are aware of them and stuff, which is great, because I know that obviously the last thing you guys want is someone basically screaming effing and bowling and basically putting that good old N-word somewhere. Oh crap! I forgot about the god damn it.
Yeah.
And
I think. Oh, sorry. Finish your question. My bad.
Oh no, sorry. I was just about to finish it off there though. Just saying that it's pretty commendable though how you guys sort of make sure though that your community isn't gonna be toxic, and that the people that you've got now, your core players, that obviously they kind of understand like what you want basically how you guys want to talk to people and how you want the community to kind of respect each other and stuff, which I think is pretty admirable compared to how some communities sort of like grow and how they then become toxic later on. I think that's pretty important. So commendable on that though, guys. So sorry, I'll let you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, I think like the trick with. I think you have to realize, and I think Ricky mentioned this, is like, our community is a conglomeration of people coming from a lot of different places. And like, each of these places has different rules around what's acceptable, right? And some of them, they don't use any bad language, and that's bannable. And some of them, racism might be rampant, right? And I think for us, she has done a great job of laying down rules that are very clear, and so when people cross the line, they can't come to us and be like, "Oh, I didn't know that." We're like, "No, you knew that." But what we've actually noticed is that when people break the rules, that the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people is to just do the permanent ban. And for things that are bad enough, especially personal attacks, we do that. If it's something really nasty, like we don't want you around, right? You're not going to be helping the community, and no one wants to play with you, right? So you're making the product worse. But we've found with a lot of people who come from those communities where maybe they have a different set, we'll do a temporary ban and then we'll talk with them, right? And we've actually found that in like over 80% of those cases, those people can become wonderful members of the community who don't break the rules anymore, right? It just, it takes. I think when a lot of people realize the rules are enforced, they act well. They act in a favorable manner. So that's what we've observed.
Oh god, an alien. Yeah, dude.
Thank you for the follow, by the way, Thriller.
Definitely. Oh,
How's
it
it
was Trapper, by the way. I think it was Babushka. Was the
Sam is an alien. Yeah, I didn't just want to say that.
Anyways.
Nah, dude, I'm not an alien, dude.
But
I totally saw you.
Yeah.
I had no
an alien. I
I'm
didn't
no
want to
schmuck,
mention.
but I know what I saw.
It's a fucking schmuck.
Yeah, man, having a good community and like making sure that like toxicity kind of stays out of it as much as possible is really really important to us. We're basically whenever we're online like we're always just making sure that like we're having like a pulse on the community. I just killed Ricky, by the way, with the alien.
How's it going, dude?
I'm distracted, but we want to keep it. Oh, Jerry.
I got Jerry, dude. He's dead.
Yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, dude, like we're not gonna be afraid to drop the ban hammer on people, but obviously we want to make sure that we're being like just like reasonable and understanding of.
Oh, I believe he's dead. I'll get back with his question. Gotta get to the cyborg. Come at me! Come on, Sam. Oh, you don't want to know where I am. Just come though. Hey Sam, we can talk about this.
I don't know where.
Sam, we can talk about this. Come on, Sam, we can talk about this. I'm not hiding. Me, no. I would never hide. Sam, you ain't getting me, boy. Wait, let's talk about this. No.
You're a sneaky sort of guy.
Well, what can I say? Except you're welcome, escape! Where can I escape? Oh, you want some? Oh yeah, you want some? Come on, you big wise guy, come on. No, I will not die. Come get me. No.
I think I got you.
No, you didn't. You ain't got me. How do I get out of here? Yeah. No. I was so bad. I didn't know how to get out. I didn't know how to escape.
Smiley face.
God damn it. Same lobby. Okay, same lobby, I guess. Give me a second. Quickly. But oh, are we in the same lobby or not? Hold on. We're waiting. There we go. Same lobby. There we go. Perfect. God damn it. God damn it, Sam. That was so close. We just waiting for
this new Twitch UI is killing me, man. It's so confusing.
Dude, I hate how they changed it from like this really like colorful skiing with purple and stuff to just all white. It just ruins your eyes, I swear.
Oh my god, yeah, I just turned the dark mode on because the white mode is like the white mode looks like one of those websites you go to where it's just like someone's parking the website and they just put a bunch of ads on it.
It really is terrible, honestly. I've been pretty sad about it ever since, but unfortunately Twitch doesn't take any feedback, so
well, they're in a position not to, I guess.
Well, if they want more people moving to Mixer. Oh, never mind, I never said anything. No, don't do it. Come on.
EOB does not approve.
They've given the opportunity for people who aren't partner to do advertisements, but I don't believe we get anything from it as well, which I find hilarious. Basically, they're like, "Hey, you want to do some ads for nothing? Hey, that's great." Very important question.
You get goodwill points, which you could turn in for Twitch T-shirts.
Oh boy, I've always loved.
Wait, is that how you get them?
Always loved it. Very important question. How much do you guys do during the week, and how many hours spend?
Oh, that's awesome.
Get one loyalty point.
I have some other questions that I want to ask, but also one of the people kind of mentioned something in the stream there, and one of the questions is that how many hours do you guys basically work on the game, and sort of then how much do you guys play on the game, I guess.
Hours are long. It's really helpful to work on things you're passionate about, is I guess my answer for that. I mean, I know in particular, I know Sam will stay up really late integrating new stuff because he gets really excited. He works with one of our artists, and so frequently I'll wake up and Sam will have integrated some crazy new stuff for the patch. Also, I mean, I guess everyone can answer this a little bit.
Can't stop working.
Yeah, I mean, so I joined the team about 3 months ago, and Sam and I were actually college roommates. I spent a bunch of time working in finance, and my life was like 80 plus hours a week, and didn't feel any sort of fulfillment. And now I am happy to wake up every single morning, do a job, and feel like I am adding a ton of value to the team, and work the same amount of hours. So you can, Sam and Colin, when I'm in SF, like I'm literally up at like 6:30 at the dining room table working for like 2 hours in the morning, and I just would never do that before. So it's just to Colin's point, if you're passionate about it, you feel like you're adding value, it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, when I first started, I was like super surprised. Because like I've never really had a job before where I was like literally working every minute of the day. Like we get into the office and we're already like hopping from one task to the other, one project to another, and there's always so many things to do. And like whether it's community stuff, whether it's marketing and growth, whether we're talking about the next coming features, like there's always something to do. And if we like are hitting a dead end because we're blocked, like we just kind of like pivot and like work on a different project until we get unblocked. And we are literally working every single minute while I'm sitting at this table. So definitely something new.
Are you sure it's not you guys who were having aliens at the back of you right now with plasma rifles saying, "Hey, if you guys don't do this game, then we're gonna destroy you," you know?
Gary the alien.
I can't see the lobby.
That's classified.
It's a private one. The Ironic Soldier.
I am an alien, dude.
Thanks for the follow, by the way.
I was at Area 51.
I mean,
Yeah, communal barbecue.
I mean, we work a lot, but I think it's a very healthy lifestyle. We try to not take our work home with us on the weekends, although it's unavoidable sometimes. We all play the game on the weekends though. Kind of like Colin mentioned before, we don't really have set hours or anything like that. We just kind of are trying to make the game as good as possible at all times. It's not very much not a 9 to 5 thing. It's like someone comes up with an idea for something, and then everyone's kind of working tirelessly to get that in. And then once that's done, someone else comes up with another idea, and we're just kind of doing that over and over.
I mean, that's quite commendable, honestly. I think that with regard to that, you guys have like quite a bit of. I think that's like why a lot of people want to support you guys. If I'll be honest, I've seen like obviously communities sort of grow, and I have to admit you guys have a lot of like supportive community, and I think that's commendable. Honestly, I really do mean that when I say that as well. There's a lot of people that really liken the sort of like goal that you guys have. Myself personally. I really am excited to see what this game turns into. Yeah.
I think it really helps that kind of beyond being passionate about making games, which I think most game developers can say. There's not really another reason you would go into game development. We also happen to all be pretty passionate about the game that we are building as well.
Cameras do.
I think those two things don't always go
That
hand
is
in
Sam,
hand.
my dude.
So it's always really exciting for us to finish the patch and to go play it. I think we're always kind of motivated by seeing the improvement, and the game is kind of a spiritual successor to all the games we enjoyed playing most as kids together.
Of course.
I mean, Sam, remember that one day? I think we had a big patch like on a Thursday, and then we hopped on like super late on Friday.
Guys, can we get
playing the game with like the community for like 2-3 hours? Just
Best
like so much fun
chat,
at the end of
please,
the
boys.
week. I
We
thought that
even
was
intended to go out to dinner together,
that
and
love.
then we played one game, and then we all missed dinner and played EOB until like 11 p.m. or something.
There we go, boys. Thank you.
Healthy behavior.
Healthy behavior.
I guess one.
We're all just addicted to gaming.
Well, this comes into then the next question I have of you guys, and that's kind of like what made you guys want to make this game. Now, I know you've mentioned that like games such as Mafia, Werewolf, and Gmod's Trouble in Terrorist Town were kind of like the influences for you guys. But have you ever had any other inspirations? Like, there's a game that I was just playing before, actually, just kind of like show some people what sort of this game's like, and it's a game called Deceit. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have actually played this game, played that game before.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we have.
And I'm just kind of wondering, like, compared to, like, say, for example, a game like that, what do you think that, say, for example, that would offer? Now, obviously, my opinion of this is that obviously it does offer quite a bit more, because obviously you've got like a lot of different sort of aliens, and obviously the end goals are great and stuff like that. But apart from my opinion, what would you guys say is different apart from 4 survivors, 2 infected, and basically they're they're being ripped apart by aliens in the dark abyss that is known as space? What would you guys mention that is different, for example, than compared to all these other games, and what makes this game unique in your opinion?
Yeah, I think like there's a couple things. So by the way, Sam and I particularly played a lot of Deceit. Eventually they introduced a patch that made the game a lot darker, so we couldn't see anything anymore. So kind of fell off a little bit there. But I think the reason we started looking at games like this originally actually was because we realized that these social deception games, were incredibly fun to play with friends. If you've ever played Mafia or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, you know those nights can turn into 3 hours in the snap of a finger, right? You just keep playing, you keep rolling into another round. But I think what we also realized is that games like this have an amazing ability to hook people, kind of disproportionately to a lot of other games, and hook people in a good way, right? I mean, Deceit, I would say, is structurally a pretty simple game, right? It actually helps. It's really easy to pick up. It's really easy to learn. But there's been nights where I've played 12 rounds in a row, and it's because you get so much benefit based on who you're playing with, and so much variance from that. So I think that made us realize that this hidden role social stuff is really exciting and something we want to dive into. Past that, it also, and this kind of gets a little bit maybe businessy, but it really lines up with what we think is happening in the gaming industry, right? It used to be 10 years ago we were all basement people who were playing video games, and it was kind of an antisocial thing, but gaming is so social now, and I mean, I'm sure you guys even know as streamers, like, it's really valuable to have a game that's fun to stream, where a streamer's personality can come through. Right? Something that can really multiply across a streamer's unique skill set. And we think social games like this are really good for that. If someone is playing a character streamer, they can play their character and get a lot of value. If they just want to play with their friends on stream, the game will look completely different depending on who's streaming it. So that was kind of the inspiration. In terms of Deceit, we looked at it and we had a couple things. Every time you play a game, you love parts of it, there's parts that you're less enamored with, and I think one thing that we kind of noticed with Deceit is that even though it's quote a first-person shooter, it's kind of masquerading as a first-person shooter, because if you shoot someone, you have to vote them out, right?
Yeah, of course.
So for us, we were like, okay, well, I had kind of some experience working on League of Legends. I learned how a lot of how that game works and why those games work. And we were like, okay, well, can we actually make these games? Can we make our game have that awesome, exciting combat where people want to cut clips of it all the time? So that was kind of one thing with Deceit that we thought we wanted to work on. And then the other thing was like having a much more clear path for how we can update the game and keep people excited. So with Deceit, I love that game to death, but the different terrors aren't particularly compelling to me. When they were like, oh, we released the werewolf, I wasn't like, gotta get back in there and try the werewolf, because it's not that much of a difference.
Yeah.
I think levels, maps were one thing they had maybe that was kind of exciting,
I mean, one thing I can agree with that then is that how obviously they've kind of like did their model too, is that they've obviously decided to with the werewolf and stuff like that it's kind of like monetized, which is obviously doesn't do great for people who kind of just want to play the game, and I think that's like what's important. I can't believe.
Rest in peace, baby.
God damn it! That was like the first game I was ever gonna win too.
Damn it.
That was like the first game I was ever gonna win. Sorry, I'll just continue. Babushka, no. Why did you do it, dude?
That was great.
I'll just continue once Tony's back here as well.
That sounds great.
So, I know that you were mentioning the things that we do different from them too. I think this kind of goes back as well to what Colin was saying before about UGC. It just so happens that the game mode we have right now has 6 players and 2 of them are aliens, but that isn't the kind of end goal that we have for the game. Well, we're obviously going to have this mode, and it's going to be supported for forever, hopefully. and we'll make it more and more exciting as updates go on. We want it to be something more than that. And then also, as for kind of other inspirations, the game actually was very first inspired by a Warcraft 3 mod that Colin and I used to play when we were kids called Dark Deeds.
Oh, you played that too, huh?
Yeah, Dark Deeds is a great game.
Ooh, I played Warcraft when I was a wee lad.
Yeah, and
Dude, I never played Warcraft.
Our game started out as something a lot closer to that. We had a lot of puzzles in the game and a lot of kind of exciting ideas around different monsters being the evil player. And you know, you mentioned that the game kind of we started about 1 month ago. There's actually been a publicly available, you know, playable version of our game for almost 10 months now. Granted, it looked a lot worse, and it took a very special type of person to be able to look past that and enjoy the game. But the gameplay has evolved kind of a ton, and we've kept the best bits. Each time we've kind of re-envisioned the game, and this is what we've ended up with, and it's, you know, very, very different from the first thing that people were able to play, but it's much more fun. It makes you laugh a lot more, and it keeps you playing.
Yeah, I have to admit, like, from the limited time that I've actually played this game, and I guess the reason why I haven't probably played as much anyways is because when you play with, like, a new community, for example, you do usually have, like, a comfortable feeling about playing it. So that's obviously why I'm excited for my guys to finally be able to play, and we can stream it and, you know, play it a lot more. But what I really like about this, though, as well as how you just mentioned it there, though, is like how, like, basically fun it is. You know, like there's a lot of things that when we're messing around, for example, like I don't think I've ever laughed or enjoyed the game losing as much as I have, like when Babushka basically just killed me there.
Could someone explain the sledgehammer before it's one shot somebody each time?
The items can be, yeah, basically depending on the items you can basically one shot people. It depends on sort of like the quality of the weapon, I think, if I'm going to put it in simplest terms. Obviously a lot of the weapons can have like different damage and stuff like that, and I believe the weapon you had was a one shot weapon, so you just got very lucky killing She like that.
just gonna walk away from it.
But yeah, with regarding that though, I've had like a lot of fun just simply losing, and with a game like Deceit, for example, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get a little bit salty actually losing because it's just like, oh, my team didn't do this, or and my chat could definitely agree with sort of how I am with Deceit or any other sort of competitive game. While this game, for example, when I lost, I actually didn't really care. It was kind of funny. It was quite enjoyable to kind of lose, and kind of see that. And I think that's important in a game where even if you lose, for example, you're having fun, and I have to definitely mention that I really like that part about the game. And even with the people that I've seen who like really try hard in this game, if I'm going to put it in that perspective, a lot of them really don't seem to care about losing as well, which is great. And I really like respect that part about the community also. It's fun to lull a little bit. Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly. So I just want to mention.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. The other thing that's like stood out to me is it's like I think in a lot of these types of games you have players that really just want to be like the bad guy. So I think like what is it, Friday the 13th? Like everyone wants to be Jason Voorhees or whatever. Like I certainly get as much enjoyment out of either playing crew or playing alien in this game. So I don't necessarily need to be like the focal point of attention.
That's a good point,
although right now I am not readying up, so I am the focal point of attention.
You're a villain.
I know that I've given most of the questions here, but I know that obviously, like Tony, you know, I hope that obviously you know, maybe there's some questions that I haven't asked. I do have some more questions I do want to ask you guys. But obviously I would just like Tony to kind of like get his part in as well, since since originally we were supposed to be, you know, co-host, you know, stuff like that, but I feel like it's kind of just been me, and I don't want to take that away from Tony.
It's okay, I'll be the Lusha guy. Try to call me Tiny. So, what can name enemy on board? What other names did you have in mind? Why enemy on board was the final decision on that one?
Oh yeah, man, dude, we had a couple. For about 3 days, we were kind of agonizing over it.
Even as a
trying to figure
server
out
mode?
what name to come up with, and there's like a lot of considerations. So
Yeah,
could have
I
been
have
like
to admit,
Andromeda or
it's
something
quite funny.
abstract.
I was going to mention, guys, one stuff that I want to ask
think
them
what we
is if they
realized
want to do like
ultimately
first
is
player or
that
something.
having a nice acronym really helps. So being able to call it
It's like a
EOB,
different,
right? Like
mode.
all of our favorite games, even from the Warcraft 3 days.
I'm not sure,
you know,
like,
Tony,
sort
you
of
were
what to
mentioning
do
you
to
played a lot of
do that.
those. All had really nice acronyms. So that sounds stupid, but I think it kind of matters. And then for us, like, people love the conceit of a social deception game. So the quicker we can get people to understand that and know what the game is, the more we can hook their attention. And so for us, you know, if you make that a requirement of the name, then Enemy on Board hopefully can kind of allude to that a little bit.
It's catchy. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, she's an alien. God damn it.
There was a short period of time. I think the name before this one that we had was it was Passengers, and it was supposed to be a double entendre, with everyone's a passenger on a ship, and then the aliens are passengers on the humans on the ship. And then we realized that
Pretty
there
much,
was that.
But it's got like obviously it's
Jennifer
like on
Lawrence
like
movie
sort of
also
characteristics
called
and everything,
Passengers, so we had to change it.
You consulted legal counsel, and they said that you don't want to pick a fight with Warner Brothers. Who
Yeah,
gets?
I think that's actually one of the 2 times we ever talked to a lawyer. We were like, "Hey, can this be our name?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, if you don't want to get sued.
Classic lawyers do. So the funny thing about lawyers is you'll always get a no, pretty much, right? If anything is like vaguely has any legal liability, and for good reason, right? You'll always get a no. But then you have to listen to what comes afterwards, right? And this one was a no. Do you want to fight Warner Brothers? And that should be a clear answer, right?
Well, I mean, you know, take on the upper dogs, get your name out there.
Yeah. Just pick a legal fight with a huge media corporation.
That's a marketing strategy.
And
Well, that's what
earlier
the
you
players
guys
want.
mentioned Riot. You guys worked for Riot?
I was a game designer there for just about 2 years.
So you're the reason I'm always angry now.
Yeah. I didn't make Yasuo though. Everyone thinks I made Yasuo.
You know, at this point.
It's always about forgiving,
Everybody
Tony.
made
It's always forgiving, okay?
Also,
I spent a good
our
5 years
character
playing
artist
nothing but
also
League.
worked at Riot.
I have a question because I wouldn't say like I've done like a lot with Unity myself, but I have like sort of done my own sort of game developing for like 2 years now. Like just sort of like for personal stuff to kind of like enjoy. I know that obviously with sort of like with Unity, sort of like first person cameras and stuff like that are are a little bit like sort of like to mess around with and stuff. So they're really awkward. Oh, I just got stuck in a trap there. I'm just wondering, is the sort of like cameras that you guys want to do with like the third person? Then do you guys have any plans of sort of making a mode where it's a bit like the seat with the first person, where you kind of get to be able to? Because I have to admit, this game is beautiful for what it's been built as.
Yo, it's Tony.
And
Who's
and,
I'm Tony.
and I guess like what I would love to see is if I was first person, I would love to see more of this game up close with like a first person camera rather than don't get me wrong, I like the third person camera. But in like in terms of like a sort of game mode, I'm just wondering if you guys have like thought about that sort of making different game modes where it doesn't have to be third person. And don't get me wrong, I still like the idea of it, but in terms of like sort of like how you guys maybe want to develop the game, have you guys thought about doing like another mode where you can do first person so people can kind of like really enjoy sort of like the detail in the game and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, so I think so I think this question is also related to a question we get a lot, which is like control scheme. I'm about to die, sorry. 1 second,
Leave him alone. Let him live.
Let me live.
Answer the question, Colin.
Sorry.
Smack the alien, boys.
It's a simple question, sir. So, I think what we realized is for us, like, this gets subjective pretty quickly because there's like a lot of good answers, but I think the third-person camera for us, we thought made the game a lot more watchable. Like I said, Sam and I are huge fans of Deceit. We love that game to death, but when we were watching our favorite streamers, we realized that maybe it's because the game is dark, but first-person camera can be really hard to follow for people who haven't played the game.
It's she and Tony.
So, you look at a game like League of Legends or Dota, and I think they're really hard to watch because they're so complex. You have to really be a big player of the game to understand what's going on. But the top-down camera, I do think, helps make it a little more understandable. If those games,
don't get over me, boy.
It would be impossible to understand what's going on. So for us, the top-down camera was kind of an effort to make the game a little more approachable. And to make it easier to watch. Plus, like I said, we were kind of playing a bunch of Dark Deeds at the time and a bunch of Warcraft 3, man, so we were in that headspace.
He's probably gonna be like,
hey guys.
Pip Jam.
Hey guys. Oh, you killed him.
kind of so you guys can kind of see what I mean as well with the camera. They do have like quite a bit here, which I quite like. What Storm's saying, like the cinematic camera.
Well,
we're just repairing generators. Crazy.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Oh, Jam is dead.
So,
But as you can see,
this
it's really
feels
good for
weird.
sort of the camera
I
wise.
think
You
there's a
get to
couple
really enjoy it.
Alianos on this shit.
Yeah, the first person to like can work quite well, I think.
Oh.
You know, if you're
Hey,
doing
you
that.
did.
Oh man, I didn't know I was
Thank you
using
for
Thank you for the
that
follow, by the
there.
way, by
That was
Joe. Appreciate it.
unfortunate.
Colin, you
Oh, this
there?
looks cool. Exactly, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, look how cool this looks, man. Honestly, this looks great, dude.
Alright,
Uh-oh, and then look at this. So we're gonna wait here.
let's take bets. How about that? Chat, what do you think? Who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win, huh? Come on, Sam. Win for the
This
boys.
is a feels
aliens.
weird.
Oh,
Aliens are gonna win.
no! Sam, why did you not go? Sam, I was watching you.
Wanted to get the hit.
Thank goodness.
I
Sam
agree with what
lost.
they're saying about watchability.
Thank
Yeah, of
goodness
course,
Sam
dude. Yeah,
lost.
I think that's kind of like what they're hitting up on with regarding stuff like that. You know, I think that there's a lot of good stuff about the game they're doing. We're just waiting for the game to be back hosted. Not sure how much time we have with them, but hopefully we still got a little bit more. Just saw the comment about Enemy on Board VR.
And we're back.
We just wait for everyone there. It was perfect because right as the question was being answered, I was like, I got my answer, and then all of a sudden the alien just decides to rip me apart, which you know.
And that was TtinyTonyy. I was trying to let you guys live. I was like running around and like getting your health down and making sure you guys don't die.
By the way, guys, yeah, if
Someone in your chat asked if Parasite for StarCraft 2 was an inspiration. So
have a good night for
I don't think any of us have actually played the StarCraft 2 iteration of it. But both Colin and I played a ton of. There was a Warcraft 3 version of Parasite that I think was the precursor to the StarCraft 2, and now I think there's a community called Parasite Zeta that's developing the game. So we played it a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it in Warcraft 3.
Yeah, that's no problem, dude.
There's this really awesome mechanic where one kind of quadrant of the map was dedicated to controlling where the ship was in like the solar system, and you had like a single controllable like ship unit just like flying around like a very crudely made like sky texture. And it would like make random events happen if you like hit an asteroid in that quadrant of the map or something like that. Yeah, that game was awesome.
Hold on, I'm just gonna quickly. Let me just quickly check what questions I still have left. Give me a second. My throat, dude. I didn't realize how many questions I've asked.
Yeah. I got one.
Oh.
Let's hear it, Tony. Tiny Tony.
Jesus, I didn't realize I've answered most of my
Tony, how did you get so tiny?
I'm not gonna tell you that, but so what made you guys want to make a deceiving-oriented game? Like, essentially, what made you want to break up friendships? You know, what made you want to?
We're aliens, dude. We're aliens.
I mean,
we're aliens, dude. Like, we're trying to take over, the Earth, and if we can weaken personal relationships between some humans, that makes our job a lot easier.
We kind of, in addition to the stuff Colin was talking about earlier with, deception-based games being really kind of timeless and easily understandable, we really were kind of looking at games that were out there, video games, and we felt like no one had really hit the mark with a great deception game, and we thought it was somewhere where we could do better. Obviously Colin's background working on League, and the rest of us are kind of avid MOBA players. Why didn't we make a MOBA? I think it's because that we didn't really want to try to make a game like that when there's kind of a couple titans of industry between Valve and Riot making their own.
That's a good point, actually.
So in addition to it being a really awesome type of game that we've played our whole lives, we thought it was somewhere where we could really contribute to gaming in general because there's kind of a hole. We didn't think that there is really a best in class awesome game that comes to mind when you think about Deception. You know, there's all of these other games that come up. You know, Trouble in Terrorist Town, Deceit, Parasite, even Space Station 13. But you know, when you mention Deception games, there's not kind of one that just stands out among the rest that everybody will answer with, like the way that League of Legends does for MOBAs, for instance.
Sorry. Also, I have a question for
Yeah, of
you
course.
guys once we get to the end of this. So wait for that.
Yeah, no problem. I guess sort of what I would kind of because most of my questions have been asked, but I guess a wrapping up question is sort of for what I have, because to be honest, I'm pretty content with everything that has been answered. Oh crap! And I just still on a spider trap too. How nice. Anyway, so